So I'm Hannah. I am a customer experience leader for about 10 years now. I'm working with partnerships with the Gaza Sunbirds, who are a professional paracycling team out of Gaza, focused on like mobility justice and lasting freedom. My career has been nonlinear. Even my educational background is in politics. I worked in IT. I thought I was going to do front end development and kind of went into customer experience. And I quit my job and moved to California, 10 plus years ago. And what I found is that mindfulness has really helped center me and anchor me in throughout all the career transitions. So I'm hoping to share this with the community as you guys get a lot of information today, and hopefully you'll gain some, mental tools for your toolkit. So cutting through the career chaos. So what is mindfulness, right? It's the practice of being present without judgment to yourself or to your surroundings. So it's really the anchor to kind of all the mental chaos and any sort of confusion. So it can really help with career development and has helped me improve my focus and clarity, build resilience, and reduce stress because it always kind of centers you back to the present and takes away from that judgment. So what I kind of want to do is really go into what is that mental chaos, right? What are the contributions to mental chaos and bring that to the forefront of our brains right now, right? So we've got our external factors and our internal, workplace factors. And our external factors can be social media like LinkedIn, so we see people post about getting promoted or maybe getting a job that we wanted to, or kind of having this fancy life. But we also need to put in perspective that kind of social media is really curated on how someone tells their story. Another one is ghost jobs and rejections, right? So constantly getting rejected or not hearing back from a job can be really disheartening, and it can kind of help, build a spiral of internalization. And I'll circle back to that really quickly right after we go through all of them. Other stressors can be things like maybe you have an aging parent or you have an illness you have to take care of. Could be worldly things like the election or world politics. So all of that can really stress down into that mental chaos too. Internal factors like the workplace factors will be maybe complex assignments, right? How do we kind of manage that? Tight deadlines, workplace comparisons, right? So maybe you're working with colleagues and kind of going for promotion together. And nowadays, technological advancements, right? Everyone wants to adopt AI, and kind of where does that leave our job functions and things like that. With the ghost jobs, I just want to touch on that briefly. Ghost jobs are jobs that are posted and recruiters have no intention of hiring. So I've kind of done some work for a legislator office that wants to create a bill to kind of prevent this. So I just want to read off some stats real quickly, where they surveyed recruiters. And 39% of hiring managers in a resume builder study say their company posted a fake job in the past year. And this was published in 2024, so for 2023. The 81% of recruiters admit that their employer posts ad for jobs that that the jobs don't exist or they've already been filled. And that's from My Perfect Resume. I just want to go into, a job that's been posted in 2024 versus 2020 is for every 10 jobs, almost there are 4 hires, right? Where it was down from 2020, which is for every 10 jobs, there were almost 8 hires. So hopefully that kind of like puts it into perspective when we're applying and we're not hearing back, and that kind of spirals our mental chaos. So now what I'd like to do is, now since we have that chaos at the forefront, if we kind of can like practice the 5, right? And maybe if you want to put in the chat or just on your own, but practicing the 5 is really a way to just ground yourself back to the moment, right? You can do it while you're walking or maybe making coffee. Just the 5 senses. What can you see? What can you hear? What can you smell? Do you taste anything? What can you touch? How does it feel? So for me right now, I'm sitting by a window, I'm looking at the computer screen, but I can see the outside. Maybe I can hear the keys on the keyboard. And it just is really about centering and just being factual. Don't really smell anything. Maybe taste of coffee. And what can I touch, right? Like my keyboard is cold. And so kind of really bringing us back into that center. Um, and you can do this maybe even if you're in a meeting and all of the thoughts are kind of spiraling around, just take 20 seconds and just, look at your notes or look at what's going on, or maybe right before an interview. So then let's go ahead and center ourselves by identifying those values and goals. And I know in the previous talks, which is kind of awesome, we touched on kind of how do we kind of weigh out those pros and cons, those values. So the values are going to be your fundamental beliefs. They're going to be what determine what's truly important to you, and especially in your professional life. So it might be work-life balance, it might be your career growth, or right now for financial security, right? And maybe even rank them. Say, financial security is my biggest value right now, and I can't really focus on the innovation in a company, even though ideally I would like that. And your goals will kind of be the measurable objectives to achieve that. So how can you kind of build the goals to help actualize your values? So maybe that's, hey, I want a career growth, but maybe I need to earn a certification to put myself in that position. Or maybe for work-life balance, I need to make sure that I'm, leaving at 5 p.m. every day to go to a yoga class or a pottery class, something new. So being able to outline that for yourself, and maybe that's something that everyone can do now, and just as you go through the conference, really have that in your head of what am I looking for next, and what are those goals that can help achieve that. Quickly, I just want to go into some anchoring techniques, right? So anchoring by aligning, right? So maybe we're in a position in our career or professional life that doesn't really align with our values, right? Maybe there is no work-life balance or no financial security or innovation. So being able to outline this for ourselves will really help us ensure that we're in the place that we want to be, or at least aware that we're not, and we want to work towards that. So what are the core values, right? What's non-negotiable in your ideal work environment? And then what are your career goals, right? Maybe for the next 6 months, year, 5 years, 10 years, and really being able to map that out. And then how does your current position align with that, right? So are you on the career path that's going to help get you to that goal? And if not, maybe research what are those opportunities that are aligned with that, how to get to those opportunities, finding the mentors, and maybe even connecting with people you might not have before, right? Just reaching out on LinkedIn, or going to community events like this conference. And develop that action plan that moves towards that alignment. So build yourself a roadmap, and being able to regularly assess that alignment, so that when you do achieve that next goal or that next promotion or that job, did it align, with your values and goals? And if not, how can you better align that for the next milestone or next step? The next anchoring technique that I just want to go into is reframing, right? So there's going to be two ways, and one is just a cost benefit analysis, and I think a lot of people have heard this before, especially when you put it in a financial perspective at a company. But list out the pros and cons, right? So maybe you had a really terrible interview, and you're not sure if you're going to get the job, and if you don't get the job, you won't have financial security. You'll have to look for a new job. You'll have to find a new interview. But maybe the benefit for that was the job wasn't really aligned with your values. Maybe the job was out of commute. Maybe the benefit and the pro is the experience that you got, or the connection that you got from that interview. I know for me, sometimes I don't receive the job, but I end up making such a good connection with the interviewer that they become either part of my personal squad or a mentor for some future opportunity. Um, and then once you do that, just evaluate that overall impact, because sometimes that interview or opportunity can just be a stepping stone for really what's meant to be aligned for you. And another reframing technique is examine the evidence, right? So sometimes we can magnify kind of our own mental thoughts and our cognitive distortions to to think that one mistake maybe on my resume or one mistake in the interview, I didn't say the story I wanted to, is just going to really bring down everything, that I didn't get to showcase my full background or my full potential. Um, but maybe that's not the fact, right? Maybe you just answered the question at hand. Maybe that wasn't what the interviewer was really looking for, even though you wanted to kind of go ahead and say that. So really challenge your own assumptions, and through all the facts, through analyzing really the data that happened in that situation. Um, I think sometimes that happens in meetings when we kind of want to go a certain way and the team is pushing back in another way, but we kind of look at the data with how the project's gone, how the stakeholders are responding to it, and then challenge our own assumptions that, was it really going to be in the best favor, or is that really the best way to move forward with it? So I think always taking ourselves out of that um, has been really, really helpful for me in the past. So I just want to recap on this quickly, and maybe we can have some time for like some reflections if anyone has any. But recapping on mindfulness is always being present without judgment, right? And I think we can always be, judgmental to our surroundings, and that's really easy to stop. But how to stop that judgment to ourselves, right? How to stop those distortions and say, oh my God, I messed up. I'm never going to get the job that I want. Or everyone's kind of going to go see through my story and know that, hey, I didn't actually, leave the job. I got laid off and I didn't tell the story right, right? So how to really stop that judgment from yourself. And grounding techniques. So like practicing the five, just taking a minute to watch the coffee drip into your cup and just bringing yourself back into that present is going to build a lot more clarity and resilience. Take yourself out of that emotion, that thought, that stress. Identify your values and goals, right? So best align yourself with what's your next career move. What do you need to do to work towards that opportunity? And whether that's an industry switch or just finding your next job, really outline that for yourself, and then research those opportunities. So like just do some heads down time. And it might not seem like you're doing work, but it really is meaningful when you've kind of turned that inwards, and you're able to do that research on yourself as well. Using the reframing techniques, right, in challenging situations is going to help expand your perspective. So it's going to take you out of kind of the end all be all, and it's going to say, okay, well, what happened in this interview, or what happened in this meeting? What was the benefit from it? What is the cost? What did I learn from it? Then the last thing I just want to leave you with is keep a gratitude journal, right? So something my friend did is she keeps an actual journal and every day writes five things that she's grateful for. That was really difficult for me, but I did find that gratitude every day really does remind me of the things that I do have. So even if I'm in a career transition or a transition as I am now, how does that gratitude really bring me back to remembering everything that I've achieved? So for me, I put it on my calendar, 11 p.m. at night, and I put a just calendar event, and I put three things in each event as it pops up on my phone. And that's kind of an easy way. And it could just be, hey, I got to walk outside today. And some people don't have the ability to walk, or they don't have the ability to walk freely or go outside, or, it could be as small as that, or it could be, hey, I was really grateful to speak with the Girl Geek X community today and make a lot of connections. So it can be as small or big, but things for yourself. And I hope you all are able to keep that in mind as you go through the conference and really assess what your values and goals are. Take the minute to practice the five and ground yourself when it's a lot of overwhelming information. And, just keep that mental chaos, in the back of your head. especially with the comparisons, the ghost jobs. So if anyone does have any reflections or thoughts, I would love to give a couple of minutes to that. If not, I really hope that you guys have some new tools for your mental toolkit, and please reach out to me. I do mentor some people, mostly in the CX industry or startup industry, and I just found that mindfulness just really helps in the career world, and we don't really talk about it as much, but sometimes it's what we need, and especially in this world where there's so many external factors, we don't really know what's going on. So just good luck to everyone out there. You guys are doing great, and stay strong and reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with each of you.
Oh, yeah, there was a question, Hannah. Do you know, in your research, what is the benefit to the companies posting the fake jobs?
Oh, thank you. Yes. So actually, I did have to do research for this legislator company. So there's a few benefits, and they're not actually nice benefits. Um, they create the illusion that there is hiring happening in the company. So for external, like investors, or to showcase that their company is growing, they do it to boost productivity in their company. So it makes employees work harder because they might see a job posting listed. And there are studies saying that it did improve productivity by having these ghost jobs listed. Um, so those are like the two big reasons of why they have these ghost jobs on there. Some also want extraordinary talent. So they'll just leave the job up there until they see someone extraordinary apply for it, which is now why there's legislatures looking into creating bills and maybe giving a fee to employees and employers, and maybe hopefully forcing them to put a time frame on when they will hire, or if you've been interviewed, to give you a deadline. So I know that there's hopefully going to be bills presented to kind of force employers to really put out the truth about those jobs. But that's the reasons of why they do that now.